Josh Duggar's prison commissary funds have been cut from $360 to $25 a month. Despite inmates complaining about bedridden food, Josh, 37, is serving a 151-month sentence at SCI Segoville in Dallas, Texas, and has a release date of October 2032. Segoville has been accused of serving half portions of food at times containing bugs, which has forced inmates to purchase meals from the commissary. But the U.S. Sun can exclusively reveal prisoners' budget funds have been slashed. One of the inmates played a prank on a guard, a source told the U.S. Sun. Now everyone is on a $25 commissary limit. They usually have a $360 limit a month. The insider continued to claim they are also locking them down at least 2 days a week. A separate insider explained the prank involved urine and a mixture of chemicals likely purchased from commissaries spilling onto a prison worker and causing severe burns. The second source continued to claim that the cut down on commissary funds are for purposes of the investigation and to avoid inmates having enough funds to purchase the same substances as the unit also offers medications and hygiene products. There was a nasty, serious prank played on someone with urine and unknown chemicals. The insider claimed the prison is trying to figure out the chemicals to restrict it. They have $360 they can spend a month. The source continued they shop every other week. Half the institution got the restriction. During the investigation, it's only fair to have the other half miss out. It's a very temporary thing, and not a mass punishment. Josh Duggar's Thanksgiving in prison with roasted turkey feast, rate ball and Monopoly site. The insider added that the prison will likely give the inmates the difference of the money they missed out on during the investigation. The prison has found out which inmate pulled the prank. It's considered a privilege, the source said of commissary. The prison wants them to spend because the money generates items for them. They don't want to restrict it because it benefits everyone. As for lockdown, the source said they occurred 2 days a week because of staffing and budgeting to avoid paying workers overtime. This is nationwide and not just for Segoville, according to the insider. The commissary provides inmates with a variety of foods, including bacon for $3.85 a chicken pack, for $5.65 granola cereal for $4.50 Feeler's coffee for $6.50 50 beef sausage for $2.50 mashed potatoes for $1.95 and more. Segoville declined to comment. The U.S. Sun previously reported that the food and portions served to inmates forced them to go to the prison's commissary to avoid going hungry. They've been getting half portions of food for months, a source close to a Segoville inmate claimed to the U.S. Sun in December 2024. Grids, tiny portions of corn, half rolls, a couple ounces of deli meat. They're serving having to buy food from the commissary or go hungry. It's wild. Complaints from loved ones have gone nowhere. Segoville responded to the U.S. Sun's request for comment at the time. Segoville provides all adults in custody with food that is consistent with the national food menu to include portion size. We take all complaints about the institution and services provided very seriously, and all complaints are fully investigated. Currently, SCI Segoville has not received any complaints regarding any aspect of the institution's food service department. The source also previously told the U.S. Sun the food they get is regularly expired. They're just like really disgustingly expired. Always buy at least a couple of weeks, and it's like milk, all sorts of stuff that can't be expired for that long. They had a run of cereal that had bugs in it,
eat their
and
cereal
so because it was filled with bugs. The insider continued to allege that the facility runs out of food kind of often. The source continued to claim it's only ever been like a 1 or 2 day thing at a time, but the portions are also small enough to where if you can't afford to buy food on commissary, you're going Hungary, the U.S. Sun previously obtained a recent lawsuit from a prisoner who accused the facility of inhumane conditions in the lawsuit filed on February 26, 2024. Inmate Jano Peterson claimed, "I write this letter to formally demand an immediate cessation of all inhumane treatment and actions taken against myself at the Federal Correctional Institution Segoville as alleged by denied medical services and food stored next to trash and under 2,000 calde meals. The purpose of this letter is to place you on notice and to demand that these actions that undermine human rights and dignity at the facility be halted with immediate effect." The email ended in another email he wrote of an alleged October 24, 2023 incident where an inmate discussed how food contained maggots. Jodino allegedly heard another inmate talking about the food trays that had maggots in them and how inmates should have saved the trays with maggots. The warden's secretary responded via email, which was provided in the complaint. Meals are served according to the national menu and the appropriate serving sizes. If you have questions on additional food service, you can direct them via Copout to food service. Segoville did not respond to the lawsuit, and the case was dismissed because the defendant was no longer confined at Segoville or in the custody of the Federal Bureau of Prisons. Despite the conditions, Josh seemed to be in good spirits walking around the prison's track in December 2024, his first appearance behind prison walls in years. Former 19 Kids and Counting star Josh Duggar was sentenced to 151 months in prison for downloading and possessing child sex abuse images in December 2021. Here's the timeline of the ex-reality star's legal woes. Josh was initially accused of downloading child sexual abuse material in May 2019 after an investigation by Homeland Security. Later that November, Homeland Security visited the car dealership where Josh was working to raid his computer on April 29, 2021. Josh was arrested and held without bail at an Arkansas jail. He was charged the next day during a hearing at the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Arkansas via Zoom with receiving and possessing child sex abuse images, to which he pleaded not guilty. Josh's trial began on November 30, 2021 in a federal courtroom in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and a verdict was reached on December 9, 2021. He was found guilty of knowing and receiving child sex abuse material in May 2022. Josh was sentenced to 12 years in federal prison and ordered to pay $50,100 in fines and special assessments. Josh's legal team later appealed the conviction to the United States Court of Appeals for the Eighth Circuit, which was denied in late 2023. Shortly after, Josh again appealed for a new trial with his attorney, arguing that federal agents wouldn't allow Josh to call him at the time of his arrest on June 24, 2024. Josh's request was again rejected. Josh was arrested and charged with possessing and receiving child pornography in April 2021. He was found guilty after a nearly 2-week trial in Arkansas. Josh was sentenced to 151 months in federal prison in May and was transferred to FCI Segoville in June 2022. Josh's legal team filed an appeal to overturn the conviction and have a new trial in October 2022. The appeal was denied in November 2023, with the Supreme Court officially denying the conviction appeal in 2024.